Okay, good morning, good morning. Good afternoon, Sonia. She's off in Portugal, so it's not morning here, or not morning there. My brain feels a little fuzzy this morning, but I'm just right here with you this morning and super excited to be able to share this workshop with you. It will be short and sweet. This is just really a jump start for you to say, okay, it's time for me to prepare for Pilgrim. How do I do that specifically? How do I bring myself into alignment, etc.? And so there's a couple things you can do as we get started. I'm going to lay out a few things, and then we're going to take a little pause and do our opening mantra. And that feels important to me for us to do that because we're coming from different places across the globe, and I want for us to absolutely and entirely be able to be one with each other as we do this. So let me say a few things first, sort of pragmatically. What I have in front of me is I have a blank piece of paper and a scissors. Don't need the scissors, but I'm just telling you what I have. A blank piece of paper and something to write with. I have colored pencils here, just so happens. Could be anything. A pen, doesn't matter, for this first piece. Or you can have the cards already. If you already have your 12 touchstones and you've done this before, you can already have your 12 touchstones cut out and ready. I have them cut out and ready as well. But I really like to remember the power of this practice by bringing it in and through my body. So I don't want to use these cards today. You're welcome to use your cards. I'm going to use my hands and my heart. I'm not even going to use the scissors. And so we're going to just walk through these 12 touchstones. This is our overview for the essential practice of Pilgrim, the essential journey of Pilgrim. Then I'm going to unmute us all. We're going to unmute ourselves and just say hello. Say our names and say where we're from. You don't have to show your face. If you don't want to, you're welcome to, but you need not. Okay, so as I said, what I really want to do is first drop into our mantra, the opening mantra that we use across the board during Pilgrim, and this is the student-teacher prayer. And I remind us right out of the gate that we are surrounded by teachers. You are sitting in a room full of teachers right now. I'm not your only teacher. In fact, I take a really back seat as a teacher. Yoga is your teacher. The Vedas are your teacher. This amazing world, this universe is your teacher. And you as each other, sisters, brothers and sisters on this journey are your teachers. So may we not forget that when we do the student-teacher prayer, that you're not putting me above you, and I'm not putting me above you by any means, but instead we're walking together with a high intention of learning and growing in and through each other, from each other. The guides guide me as well, right? Our beautiful guides, Sonia, Jessica, Annette, and Catherine. These guides that are with us on this journey are guiding me equally. And so may we remember that as we journey together. So that's what the student-teacher prayer is. And if you want to know more about it, in yoga church, right, tomorrow morning we have yoga church, you can come to a yoga church class. That's not part of Pilgrim, but it's a wonderful adjunct to have another live connection with me. Those classes are by donation. And the yoga church has the handout of the Sahana Vavatu, and a beautiful unfolding of it according to my teacher, Swamiji Vagishinanda Saraswati Dayananda. So that's a mouthful for you. So we're going to take the student teacher and call and response this morning. So I invite you to do that with me first. So we're going to send the breath down and out the body, and we'll do call and response, inhaling. Om, your turn. Om, Sahana. Sahana Bhavatu Bhavatu Sahanao Sahanao Bhunaktu Bhunaktu Saha Saha Viryam Viryam Karavavahai Karavavahai Tejasvi Tejasvi Navadhitam, Navadhitam, Astu, Astu, Mavidvisha, Mavidvisha, Vahai, Vahai, Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May we work together, may we play together, may we walk through this wild and woolly world together. May we, oh, as an American, I say this with my heart wide open, may we never forget that there is no other. I am you and you are me. Beneath it all, we are one. We are one in the same. Not only as humans, but as journeyers. I walk with you in love and light. We walk together. And may we use this practice this morning just to help us lay a foundation and remember who we are and remember what's important and remember what we've got to work with. I must tell you, it's raining outside. I see thunder and lightning. It's phenomenal. So, and prayers in the Vedic tradition and the yogic tradition are 108, sometimes we say 1,008 times more powerful in water, in the bathtub, in the shower, in a rainstorm. So, whew, I'm just holding this beautiful sky, this gray, dark sky as our teacher this morning. So here we are. All right, so here's what we're going to do. The 12 touchstones. These are the foundation. These are the baseline. These are the basics. These are the everything, in my perspective, that help us move in and through and journey in and through this pilgrim experience. So that being said, I'm going to start with a piece of paper, right? This is how I do this. I like to get my hands on things. So you're going to take a piece of paper and you're going to fold it the long way. I'm going to put my glasses on. So I can see. I'm giggling because this morning this is happening more and more often, and I know I'm not alone with one set of glasses on my head and one set on my eyeballs. So I'm going to fold this the long way as such, and I'm going to do a really tight line, just like that. And then good tight crease. I'm going to fold it back the other way too, so that it's going to be easy for me to tear. Instead of using a scissors, I'm going to tear it. Then I'm going to take it and fold it this way, right? The short way, even though it's still pretty long, right? And do the same thing. Fold it, fold it. So now I'm going to have 4 pieces, right? But we have 12 touchdowns. So that means what remains has to be folded into 3. So I'm going to take each side separately. You do it as you wish. I'm going to fold it up 1/3 of the way, as such. And then I'm going to fold it 1/3 of the way again. Like that. Just not going to start with the creases right away. And then I'm going to fold it up 1/3 of the way, as such. Then I'm going to fold it up 1/3 of the way again. So why am I doing this? Because I want 12 touchstones. 12 whole touchstones, right? I just realized I need to get this guy plugged in. I unplugged my other camera, so let me just do that. There we go. Perfect. There we go. All right. So now if you open up your piece of paper, your single piece of paper, in a perfect world, you have 12 rectangles, if you count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 2 is 12. And now we're going to take it, and as I like to do it, I'm just going to set this notebook on my lap. I'm going to tear it the long way because I made that really good crease. And then I'm going to tear it into the quarters because I made another really good crease. I'm all about the straight lines on these. So it's the pre-work, right? The creasing. That means everything. And I'm going to go ahead and these guys really good. So go ahead and tear it into 12 touchstones. And as you're doing that, I'm just going to remind you what these 12 touchstones are. Right? These 12 touchstones are the baseline of what we're doing on our pilgrim journey. They are the baseline and the backbone. They are the foundation and they are the highest aspiration. Right? They're all of it together, all at once. And those 12 touchstones are: move my body, purify my vessel, join conscious community. Just let these sort of sink in. Find sacred space. Align with nature. Be breathed. Rest and reflect. Nourish my buddhi. One of my favorites. Alter my consciousness. Symphonize my holy heart. Awaken through asana. And worship my way home. Those are your beautiful, glorious, magical 12 touchstones. Okay, so we got this. We're almost there. Once you have 12, you might get your writing utensil ready because we're going to write one of the touchstones on each of these pieces of paper. Again, you can use a marker, you can use a pen, you can use a pencil, whatever. This reminds me of the power of these practices. So now there we go. Got my 12 little guys, 12 little pieces of paper. Again, like I said, you could also have them cut out. They're available. You can have them on cardstock. I know some of you have done them really beautifully in the past as well. So on some beautiful colors. I think, Sonia, you have some really lovely ones. All right, so I'm just going to grab a pencil. We'll go with this blue one for now. And this is how this rolls. The first thing you're going to write down is move my body. Move my body. And it's all in first person. And this is essentially that. The focus of this particular touchstone is to move you, to move your body, to hike, to walk, to practice yoga, to dance, but just don't sit there, right? Don't sit there. Keep your body moving throughout the course of these 108 days. Get yourself moving in order to move out any stagnant blood. Keep your body moving in order to move out any stagnant experiences or any stickiness or anything at all. And this will also help keep your muscles strong, keep your bones strong, and it will flood your body with good biochemicals and antidepressants and oxygen and joy and so much more. Movement is life, right? We remember this. Movement is life. So move my body, and you don't have to write, this is the first touchdown, doesn't matter. Just move my body, just like that, right? You got it? Set it aside. Your next one is purify my vessel. Now this is huge because this one implies that you are the vessel. You are the vessel. Purify my vessel. And to purify, you got to eat clean. You got to limit your alcohol, limit your caffeine. You got to drink more water. You got to try to do your very best to cut out all refined sugars, if not as much sugar as possible. Inflammatory foods, wheat, dairy, anything else that causes your tummy upset, etc., numbs you out, dumbs you down, or wreaks havoc on your digestion. You want to focus on how it is that you can purify your vessel. You want to try to put real stuff on your skin and on your hair. You want to try to stay away from petroleum-based products, no junk. It sounds absurd, but your ability to digest food is the same digestive system that digests life's experiences. So we want to keep this vessel as pure as possible. Purify my vessel. So we got to be clean, clear, and ready for whatever comes our way. And to do this, we purify the vessel day in and day out, do our best to do it. So that's your second one. Set that aside. Your third one is join conscious community. You're doing that, right? And the thing about joining conscious community is there's two ways to do that. You either find a community that is conscious or practicing consciousness, which is what we're doing here, or you join consciousness with community and you bring consciousness into your community, which means when you're sitting at that Thanksgiving dinner table or when you're having that family conversation, you are saying, how is it that I bring consciousness and love into this particular community? The world isn't always going to be full of all the good stuff, right? You're going to bump up against a whole bunch of crazy out there. So if consciousness is what you want, you either find your way into those conscious communities and or you bring consciousness into the communities that you are a part of. Both of those things are joining of conscious community, and both of them work in tandem. It's in much ways, it's this, right? Two hands at the heart, doing both in all ways. So you take that one, join conscious community, and you set that aside. Number 4, find sacred space. The operative word meaning find, right? Find sacred space, find holy ground, find sacred space. Anything that is sacred is right. Meaning there's nothing bad in the world that we need to fight against. We're looking for the sacred in all things. We're looking for space to breathe, to be ourselves, to connect with our true nature. To be truly sacred is to say that I am whole, holy, enough as is, right? That's like one of the first lines in our pilgrim poem. That you are whole, that I am holy, that I am good, that you are good. And we could do ourselves a whole heck of a lot of good if we did a better job of loving things as they are and looking for the sacred in all that is, instead of wanting to throw out what's not working, walk away, abandoned, leave behind. How do I find the sacred that gives me space to breathe and to be in all things? That's your next one. Number 5, align with nature, right? Align with nature. To align with nature is to remember that you are part of this natural world, right? You're made up of the 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether, space. And there are all these different ways that we can connect with the earth. We can go outside, we can be barefoot, we can, yesterday I just sat against a tree. There's a busy road on one side, and there's a little bit of a nature area, and then there's a tree, and then there's the river, Mississippi River, and I just sat there. So I can align with nature by being grounded, slowing down, being steady, being steadfast, going with the flow. I can anoint my own brow with holy water. What is holy water? The water from the faucet is pretty darn holy, right? So how do I anoint myself? How do I bring myself into great connection and combination? How do I bring ginger into my diet to increase fire? How do I drink warm fluids? How do I use fire to light a candle and to bring into my awareness the brilliance and the transformation of fire in and of itself? How do I laugh and be inspired? How do I surround myself and let my body be touched by the wind and by the breeze at all times and in all ways? How do I bring myself into a greater awareness that I am of this earth and this earth is in me equally? And that when I align with nature, I realize that I am part of the cosmos and the cosmos are part of me. So for me, this past year, when I was diagnosed with breast cancer, it became really clear to me, you can set that aside, that I'm no different than the bees. Like, I'm being touched. I can do all these things and try to do all these things good and right, but the bottom line is that my body and my life is being affected by all of these things around me, the toxins, the imbalances, all of it. I mean, even to say here I am on the 42nd floor of a building. It's beautiful and I can see so much, and actually find that there's a lot of respite in this place. I come here and I just ground and center, and I'm by myself, and I'm just really appreciating being in this space. And I'm 42 freaking floors up off of the ground. I couldn't be more ungrounded, right? I mean, I could be more ungrounded, but that's wild, right? That's not how we know nature to function, but we are part of nature, we as human beings. So we're doing it and we're part of it. So here we are. All right, so that's aligned with nature. Your next one is be breathed. Be breathed. This is that reminder that you are breathing, you are the breather, and you are the one being breathed. Breath, and it's really beautiful right now because there's so many different people out in the world. There's so many different folks and teachers who are practicing all sorts of somatic breath work. I've been doing a lot of deep breath work. Joe Dispenza's doing deep breath work. Danny Morell is doing deep breath work. It's all around, right? So if we sing, if we do breathing practices, if we do ancient yogic pranayama practices, all of these things are helping us come into greater awareness. When I finish with you today, I'm actually going to do a 45-minute breath practice that I really love, and I'll share with you during Pilgrim this year. But it's just a reminder that you are the breath, you are the breather, and you are the one being breathed. And you can let go a little bit, right? We don't have to try so hard. We are held by this universal aspect of nature, and we can hold ourselves in grace as being the inspiration of this planet. I mean, all of us as living creatures are the inspiration of this planet. And where does your breath go when your body passes? You ever think about that? Where does your breath go? It goes back to the wind. It just goes, it goes back to the wind. So you're hearing and feeling and sensing the breath of all of creation, all around you, all around you, all around you. You're feeling it and sensing it in any given moment. It's really, it's quite profound, isn't it? When you stop and like remember to breathe. Gosh, how we've forgotten, and gosh, how we've forgotten that we are also being breathed, that we are held. So next one, rest and reflect. Rest and reflect. Some of our greatest teachers come between the learnings, right? So for us to stop in and to drop in and to say, I'm going to get quiet, I'm going to listen. Whew, this is a huge one. Rest and reflect. And it can happen in moments, right? It can happen in a 5-minute lie down, put your feet up on a busy day. It can be a getaway. It can be a Saturday morning where you decide to be in silence, right? You're reflecting right here doing these 12 touchstones. This is part of it as well. Your next one is nourish my buddhi. And I'll spell buddhi for you, right? Nourish my buddhi, Buddhi. If all this feels like super foreign to you, super new, it's all good. Let me take a little breather here. Okay, I'm gonna adjust here. Okay, so this is a play on words because we often say, nourish my body. But the reason I'm choosing nourish my buddhi is because buddhi is a word in Sanskrit that is essentially our higher self. So when I'm nourishing my higher self, interestingly, I'm interplaying and interfacing and interweaving all of these other touchstones. I'm just saying, I recognize within me that there is a part of me that is really wise. Now, that part of me might not always be, jumping up and speaking up or speaking out, but there's a part of me that is super duper wise, and I want to touch into her as much as I can, whenever I can, because that wisdom self lives inside of you all the time. And if I dare say, the world has been rough on us, and our traumas and our dramas and Disney and all sorts of things have led us astray. So we're looking for our buddhi, we're looking for nourishment of our higher selves by asking other people all about what it is that we would need to do and what we want to do. And I'm here to say, stop. Like, for me to nourish my buddhi is to realize, and I'll back up. To nourish my buddhi is for me to realize that I can go to other people for perspective, but I don't want to go to other people for validation. That deep wisdom teacher lives within me, not within another person. So what's right for me lives within me. That's where I get it, right? Nowhere else. Nowhere else. Right here, right in the heart of hearts. Okay, so that's nourish my buddhi. The next one, number 9, alter my consciousness. Alter, another play on words, because this is altar, like an altar. Alter my consciousness. There's a physical place and space in your life and in your world where you can come to practice these beautiful teachings, to bring these more completely into your world. So when we speak specifically about altering our consciousness, I refer back to the beauty of what Joseph Campbell says. And he taught for decades that there's a sacred space that if we go to it every day, we will both be able to compare and contrast our energies and our focuses and our successes from one day to the next. But it also becomes the place and space where you see yourself making shifts and changes and witnessing your own evolution. And it is in seeing this that you awaken. So my altar a lot of times is my yoga mat. My altar at times is going for a walk. My altar is going up on the mountain. My altar is sitting next to a table that has beautiful things on it. My altar is lighting a candle and having flowers or a flower. My altar is where I return to the space again and again and again and again. My altar can be where I lift weights, because I'm lifting weights these days, right? It can be that as well. Your altar doesn't have to be like in a church or in a temple. Your altar can be your body. I return to it again and again with consciousness, nourishing my buddhi in that place and space. And in doing so, what happens gloriously? What magically and gloriously happens? I gain information and I gain perspective, because I see where I was yesterday. I'm going to the mat again and again, going to the mountain again and again, sitting with myself again and again, gives me perspective about what I'm doing that's working and what I'm doing that's not working, so I can make different choices. That's alter my consciousness. All right, number 10, symphonize my holy heart. Symphonize my holy heart. This is a sweet one because it connects us to sound. I am a huge fan of mantra. I'm a huge fan of singing. I am a huge fan of sounding while practicing yoga. I'm a huge fan of using sound as a way in which to bring my inner landscape into alignment with my outer landscape. And I offer to you that we know within ourselves when we are fully in alignment, when the voice comes forth as a song from the cosmos. I know in my body when I sit to chant, if my breath is all gummy and stuck and sticky and murky, and my sound comes out as such, that I got internal purifying to do. And it might be something simple like a pranayama practice. It doesn't mean that, you know, I went to Dairy Queen last night. I'm in the Midwest, so I see Dairy Queens everywhere. It doesn't mean that necessarily. It might mean that I didn't eat very well. It might mean that I overate. It might mean that I've been sitting too long and not moving my body enough. It might mean that I'm exhausted and I need to rest and reflect more. It might mean that I need to focus my attention on pranayama practices, any of these things. My point in saying all of this is that when we symphonize our hearts, we bring ourselves into much greater alignment between our inner world and the outer world, so above, so below, so within, and so without. So symphonize my heart is the next one. Okay, two more. Number 11, awaken through asana. Awaken through asana. I love this one because it's number 11, which means, yes, yoga is important, but yoga postures are just one part of this whole path. So yes, I want to practice my yoga, but I don't necessarily have to put all of my attention into the asana. This is a reminder that this path can be all about yoga, asana, right? The postures, or can have very little to do with the yoga postures. What I will say is that doing the poses, doing the asanas will give you information about your life again. It will tell you where you're in balance. It will tell you where you're out of balance. It will tell you if your masculine and your feminine side are working together or working against each other, right? If there's a consciousness or an unconsciousness, it will tell you all of these things. It will balance your future and your past and your present and your masculine and your feminine, what you're doing in the world and how you're being in the world, and your productivity and your creativity. It balances all of that. It balances all of that. So we want to come to it, and we want to recognize that it's so much more than just a yoga butt and yoga, you know, having a great yoga butt or being able to stick a pose. It has so much more to do with what is asana teaching me about my life, and what can I use in my asana practice to help fortify my life? Those two things. And then, save the best for last, worship my way home, right? Worship my way. And home is H, Om, in parentheses or in brackets. Worship my way home. To worship my way home is to recognize, to remember that divinity is in all things. That everything that we've been doing all along in Pilgrim, when we finally get to worship my way home, is a way in which for us to deepen our awareness that the answers live within me, that I don't need to go to a church or to a guru or to a teacher or to someone or something outside of me in order for me to access my wholeness. To worship my way home is to recognize that I am like the snake with the tail in its mouth, that I am the guru and I am the disciple. And that in that relationship is where I find divinity. Now, there's a caveat in there, right? And I'll tell my personal story about that. When I was diagnosed with the cancer, my whole being, God bless the people, I hear sirens. I'm near to 2 hospitals. I have this practice that has come with me for many, many, many years, maybe 25 years. Or when I hear sirens, I always say, God bless the people. And when I see an animal that has been hit by a car, or an animal that is suffering, I always say, God bless the animals. And I feel it. I really practice feeling it. I don't just flippantly say it. Let me go back. When I was diagnosed with the cancer, I couldn't worship my way home. I didn't know how. I got really lost. I was really lost. Really lost. And blessed be, I had two angels that came and stayed with me. One was Suzanne. It's one of the seven sisters, and she's done my yoga teacher training, and she's been on retreat with me many times, and she's one of my best friends. And she came and stayed with me for 2 months and reminded me who I am. And then my sister came right as they had a little overlap in the hospital. My sister PJ came and stayed with me in the hospital, and then came back to Guanajuato. And angels of light, because in dark times we forget who we are. And it's imperative that we are in community and that we have our angels that we can call upon to help us remember who we are. So with Worship My Way Home, I'll say this, it's good in theory, right? It's good in theory, but sometimes we need our angels. We need our gurus. What is a guru? Gu is darkness, ru is light. We need someone who can shine the light on the darkness. So that's how it rolls. That's how it is. Okay, so now here's where we inventory it. Any questions? Go ahead and unmute yourselves if you have any questions or want any clarification, or if there's been anything about these practices that you think, oh, I wish you would have said this, or this is a way, because I see that many of you who are here have been here before. Is there anything about any of these particular teachings that really jump out at you that I didn't mention, that you remember me mentioning in the past, or that has come alive for you as you have been the teacher of your own heart on this journey? So just feel free to unmute yourself and just speak. Speak if there's something else. Bring it right on. I'd love to hear. Anyone at all want to share more? Oh, I hear the thunder. Big thunder. Anything? No? Okay. If something jumps up, feel free. Feel free just to share it. So now what you're going to do is you're just going to lay them out. Just lay them out in front of you. Lay them all out in front of you. No particular order, because now the order doesn't matter. When we teach them, I choose a very specific order. Do any of you remember what the difference is between the first 6 touchstones and the second 6 touchstones? Do any of you remember? There's a difference between the first 6 and the second 6. Anybody?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. If I understand them right, pretty much we go from very tangible things to more ethereal things. So
Exactly.
things that are a little more hard to grasp.
Right, exactly. Thank you. That's exactly right. From the gross to the subtle, we'd say in yoga, right? From the gross to the subtle. So that's perfect. That's exactly right. The first 6 are like, I'm going to move my body. I'm going to purify my vessel. I'm going to join conscious community. I'm going to align with nature, right? And then we start to move into things like symphonize my holy heart. And it's like, what is that mean? What does that even, awaken through asana? What does that even mean, right? So we start to get into more of the subtleties as we practice more of the subtleties, right? Perfect. So now you look at these. Just take a moment and just look at these. Ask yourself if you have developed a relationship already with some of them. Which ones of them do you look at and you go, oh, I've nailed this. I'm really good at this. I'm doing this really well. And I will say, as you're looking at those, and I know there's many of you who are coming back, this is a spiral. This journey is a spiral. It's like going up a spiral staircase. So what I mean by that is, as you look at these, you are a completely different person than you were last year at this time. I am fully a different person than I was last year at this time. So too are you. And so when we look at these and I look at them now and I go, wow. Quite frankly, I'm really looking forward to this journey, because I have practiced these things in a very, very different way in the last 9 months of my life than I practiced them for the 9 years previously. So I'm just here to say, okay, I'm really looking forward to seeing what this feels like now that I have this new perspective and this new awareness. So you might have a similar experience. Maybe you've gone through a major relationship upheaval, or a diagnosis, or a major loss, or a major gain. Maybe you're a grandma for the first time in your life, and your whole world is shifted. You've gone through menopause, you're a grandma, and now you're a different woman. You're a totally different woman. You're a different woman, right? I put my butterfly necklace on this morning, which I actually got when I was working on my master's degree and working at the University of Arizona. So I was in my late 20s. And I found it in this women's studies bookstore back when, you got all your books on bookstores and Amazon didn't even exist. And I bought this there. And I remember thinking I was going through such a major transformation at that time. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna wear this for this today. So look at these again. And if there's any of them that you feel like, I'm doing really well with this, just set it aside. Set it aside. Now, I'm here to say I'm not going to set anything aside. That's just me today. You might be like, I don't think I want to set anything aside. I don't feel like I've mastered anything. Good information. You got a lot of material to work with this year, like a lot, and that's beautiful. So then look and say, okay, if I could do this one thing, it would make the greatest and most positive impact in my life today. What is the one thing? And choose that. And set it face down. And then ask yourself the question again. What is the next thing? I'm gonna do this guy. Don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. Keep going. Really, the first 5 or 6 are going to be the most important, because you're going to see a theme. Keep going. Keep going. There it is. Until you have a relative order. And this is how you want to put these on your altar. My first one is purify my vessel. It's surprising to me, but that's why I love this, because when we slow down and we spend time with ourselves, all of a sudden we gather great information. I'm really focusing a lot right now on food. I'm focusing on food because of what I've been through, but I'm also focusing on food because I have this stunning kitchen here. And it's a place and a space where I know that I can share. I have two beautiful kitchens, right? La Sagrada. Some of you have been there and have sat through some of the cooking demonstrations there. Others of you are already coming and scheduled to come on retreat. Um, we sold out our first retreat back within days, really, 10 days, 12 days, just by private invitation. So happened fast, and there'll be more retreats coming very soon. All of it to say that food is super important to me, and it's super important to me because it's the thing that I can push away. I can just go, oh, it's not important to me. I've got these things I need to do. I'm not going to eat. That's just a bad habit of mine. So for me, purify my vessels, number one. Number two is be breathed, because I'm really finding that the power of breath at this time, the power of pranayama practices and soma breath practices are revolutionary for my energy body. And what I'm trying to do is manage cortisol. That's a big thing in my life. Cortisol has been the thing that I've been validated for as I've run fast and furiously in my life forward, getting things done, being successful, yada, 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 full of joy, etc., etc. But I walk a fine line where I almost short wire. And I believe that I refer to this past year as the year of the great learning, right? The great learning, or the great teaching, with the cancer coming and knocking on my door. Ooh, did you see the lightning? And how important it is and how beautiful it is for us to tether ourselves to the awarenesses and the teachings that come through anything that we are given. And so for me, I recognize that cortisol needs to be managed. So that's my thing. So I'm going to take the spotlight off of me, and I want to hear from you all. Can you hear the thunder? Oh my gosh, I'm just like, I'm on the 40-second story. I'm fully in, right? Fully in the, I'm in the storm. I'm in the storm. Okay, I'm gonna take the spotlight off of me. And I would love for you just to unmute yourselves. Let's see here, there's a couple chats. What do we got? Yay, oh, sweet one. Malia says, it's beyond wonderful to be back with you and to remember. Yes, I'm so there, right there with you. So there, right there with you. Okay, I'm going to remove the spotlight. I want to hear from you. So just come on in. Any of you at all, please feel free. Share with us, what are your top three? What are your top three and why? Sonia, I see you. Bring it on.
So first I'd like to share that I think this is my fifth pilgrim this year. And it's like and this year I feel like a completely different person, and it feels like some doors opened inside. So I'm actually very curious, because all the touchstones touch me in a different way and bring on a joyous expectation of what's about to come.
Right.
So it's really fresh and lively for me. So my top three are awaken through asana, because I think this might be the year I really go into a regular asana practice, and I think it will be very beneficial to me. It will bring me very, very good information and a stability that I need from the physical body to my inner self. And then it's be breathed and symphonize my holy heart. So those are my top three for this year.
Thank you. Did you say you're filled with joyous expectation? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Oh, what a beautiful way to say that. What a just sort of really beautiful way to express that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, love. All right, who else? Again, you don't have to turn your camera on if you don't want to. We'd love to see you. You're going to see me in my bedhead for 108 days. Well, I won't be there every day, but you're going to see me in my bedhead a lot. But bring it on. Go for it.
Good morning again, it's Kelly. I actually picked only two, and I just couldn't choose between any of the other ones. Um, Rest and reflect. I've gone through a huge change in my life. I've in the last 9 months divorced my former husband and am looking at rebuilding who I am. And so I have a tendency to always be on the move and being busy all the time. And if I was to, at the end of um, Pilgrim, just write down by memory each of the 12 touchstones, this would be the one that I would forget to write down. So I'm going to try to change that for me this year and spend a lot more time resting and reflecting. And then the second one I chose is Be Breathed. Um, I think I love what you had said about just recognizing that. I guess too, for me, just listening for the breath of the universe. So, that's what I have to say. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to be here with everyone and to start this journey again.
Thank you. Me too. And you bring up something that's so vital for us, Kelly, and that's this reminder that, I said choose three, and you're like, no, two. And I love that because you're reminding us that this is your journey, that nobody else gets to walk your pilgrimage the way that you want to walk and the way that you need to walk your pilgrimage. Excuse me. And you're also, the fact that rest and reflect, for a lot of us, ooh, lightning again. For a lot of us, may we remember that this journey, although there's so much available to us, it's all still going to be there afterwards. And for a lot of us, this journey isn't about doing more. It's actually about doing a whole heck of a lot less. And if for these 108 days we say, my pilgrimage is about doing less pilgrim and more presence to myself, that's the perfect pilgrimage. That's the perfect way to walk this. So thank you. Thank you for reminding us of that. That's super helpful. All right, anyone else? Who else would like to share? Just unmute yourself and bring yourself on. Your top three. It helps each of us hear from you, and it helps you. This is why sharing our hearts, showing up in the Facebook group, showing up in these live sessions, speaking our truth, it gives us a greater investment in our own journey, and therefore we get more out of it. When you invest more, you get more out of it. Right? Nobody knows that. Nobody knows that better, I think, about Malia, because you've done so much work teaching women about financial awareness, financial consciousness. What we invest, the more that we invest on the front end, the more we get back. So anyone else want to share? Just jump on in.
I'll share my top three. Alter my consciousness is one that's really, really working on a positive and courageous being.
Positive and courageous? Is that what you said?
Yeah. I got to finish this book, Britt. It's been years. It's taking courage. And then nourish my booty and rest and reflect. But the one that's really come that I've already got a plan for is thinking about the purify my vessel. And as you know, I like cheese sandwiches for lunch. And I don't need to do that anymore. I can come up with something better than that. So I've already got a plan for a way to make a bowl every day instead of eating a cheese sandwich. So that's cool.
Good, good, good. And I will say, and you guys all hear me speak about this, but Minimalist Baker, she's one of the people that I follow a ton. She has such awesome dressings, simple dressings that last a long time in the fridge, that are super healthy, that you can slather all over a bowl, and whether it's quinoa or sweet potato or potatoes or caramelized onions or whatever, all of it, her dressings are just scrumptious, as an option. So who knows, you might be able to find something that tastes a little bit cheesy, or maybe you're better off just like abandoning the cheese sandwich and not trying to compete with it. So thank you so much. Who else would like to share your top three? Anyone else want to go? Anyone else? Okay. If there's no one else who wants to share, we will wrap up. This order of these, you might write numbers on them. You might decide, Sonia, I think you, refresh my memory, didn't you print your cards, or maybe those are your 108 days, or were they your 12 touchstones, on like beautiful colors, cardstock? I feel like it was you. Was it you?
No, it wasn't me.
Who was it?
I just printed mine
On white, yeah, like
on white paper.
Uh-huh. Somebody printed, maybe it's the 108-day cards on, like, I remember there was like a really sort of a soft lime green and very sort of vibrant earth colors. Anyway, it stuck with me because colors sometimes remind me of flavors. Maybe maybe it was Julie Lucas. Might have been Julie Lucas. She's a graphic designer. Anyway, you can do it any way you want. You can just write numbers on these. You can put your cards in the order. I would say write them down. If you have a notebook where you're taking notes, if anything, if you decide to take notes through this journey, when you join with us on Monday mornings, and remember, especially for the sanctuary members, Monday morning sanctuary and we're going to be live on Zoom, not in the Facebook group. So just a reminder about that. So we're going to be live on Zoom. So you got to go to Zoom, not to the Facebook group, for those of you who've been with us in years past for that. And the link will always be the same. I would just copy that link, save it in your browser, or put it in notes or something so that it's right there and it can pop up every time. And that's where we'll be on Monday mornings. And that's going to be like the perfect time to take notes, as well as in the opening ceremony, which is on Monday night. So once a week, if you're going to take some notes in that way. And then write these three in your notebook, your top 2 or 3 or whatever it was, your highlights, or put the whole order, and then maybe write out each one and speak about, like Malia said, what's your plan? What are some ideas that you have for yourself? So you start to plant these seeds of goodness, and we fill our lives with the higher things and watch the other things that don't serve us begin to fall away. So that is it, beloveds. That is our short and sweet workshop. Just under an hour here to lay the foundation and build the backbone of our journey together. So we're going to close with our mantra, our closing mantra, which is the Om Purnamida mantra. And this is a reminder, this mantra, and it's getting sunny out now. It's crazy beautiful. This is a mantra that reminds us that we are part of the whole, and that divinity lives within us, and we don't need to go out there to find it. We might need little reminders, and I love you all and love being in community with you and love sharing this with you because it helps me remember who I am. It helps me remember what's important. It helps me remember how I can give of my heart and give of my soul, more light, so that I shine more brightly for myself, so that I put myself first, so that my power and my peacefulness are my priorities. My personal power and my personal peacefulness are my priorities, and I take those things out into the world. And it's a reminder that never was there a time, is there a time, or will there be a time where I'm not already whole and complete, perfect, just the way that I am. So may we remember this, right? Okay, let's do this. Let's bring ourselves into our glorious closing mantra. This is a little trickier one for me to do in call and response because she wants you to pay attention, right? I really have to pay attention with this one. So here we go. So sending the breath down and out the body on the exhale, inhaling to the crown. Om, Om, Purnamida, Purnamida, Purnat, Purnat, Purnamudachyate, Purnamudachyate, Purnasya, Purnasya, Purnamadhaya, Purnamadhaya, Purnamaveva, Purnamaveva, Shishyate, Shishyate, Om Shanti, Shanti, Shantihi, Om Shanti, Shanti, Shantihi, Hari Om, Hari Om, Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha, Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha, Hari Om, Hari Om. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So please just unmute yourselves and say goodbye. Any final closing words, just jump right in. It's such an honor to be here with you. Thank you so much for being here. Anyone at all want to say any final words before we go?
I just want to say bye to everyone and thank all of you who were and will be with us here.
Thank you so much, Sonia. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm just excited to be here and finding my voice.
Good for you. We will hold your voice in high honor. Thank you for sharing it. You've been heard.
Hi, Britt. Thank you. I'm so excited to walk this journey with you.
Oh, love you so much.
Love you too, and love the community. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you. Big love.
Big love.
Anyone else? Okay, just unmute yourselves, all of us, just in a big full thing, and say goodbye. Love you all. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Can't wait.
Yay, we're on it. We're doing it. All right, love you all. Bye.
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 Mwah.